Swadika, good morning and welcome to Newsline. I'm Chalapansa Narula. Thank you very much for joining us. You're watching the program via NBT, NBT World, and also we welcome listeners on Radio Thailand FM 88. It's Monday, November 23rd, and here are today's top stories. Today's Thailand moves forward. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has made known that the Thai economy has been getting better, as evidenced by a higher number of foreign investors wishing to invest in Thailand. Prayut said that there have been a number of foreign companies expressing interest in making additional investments in Thailand. For instance, he said that the giant car producer, Honda Motors, has been spending up to 1.7 billion baht on the construction of a vehicle testing course in Prachinburi, the second vehicle testing course outside Japan. The Prime Minister also highlighted a report by the Office of the National Economic and Social Development Board, or NESDB, which forecast that the country's GDP would grow by 2.9%. He, however, believed the figure could go well beyond the estimation, thanks to a huge sum of money being injected into the system. The Prime Minister has urged for tight security measures during the upcoming Loi Krathong Festival and instructed active promotion of Safety Thailand initiative. Spokesman of the Prime Minister's office, Major General Sansern Kao Kamnerd, said that Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has instructed all security-related officers and concerned ministries, including the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Tourism and Sports, the Ministry of Culture, to implement strict security programs and to introduce a campaign to encourage the public and tourists to behave decently during all key festivals, including the Loi Krathong Festival and New Year celebrations. The government has set to record zero public transportation accident between November 24th and 26th, while all related officers have been urged to inspect all their equipment and prepare officers to facilitate holiday makers in order to minimize accident and other risks. Major General Sansert added that the Prime Minister has assigned the Department of Disaster Prevention and Mitigation to take the lead in coordinating with other agencies to elevate the safety standards in Thailand under the Safety Thailand initiative, which has been introduced to make sure that the country will be known as a livable and safety place with timely and efficient post-disaster measures. The Pollution Control Department has pointed out that Thailand tends to use less floating baskets or krathong made of styrofoam every year during the Loi Krathong Festival. Director General of the Pollution Control Department, Vichan Simathaya, said the number of styrofoam floating baskets decreased every year from 2008 to 2015. In 2011, there were around 57,800 styrofoam floating baskets, or 18% of the total floating baskets used during the festival. The number dropped to 14% in 2012, 12% in 2013, and 10% in 2014. The department has urged the public to help conserve the environment by using a smaller floating basket and using only one floating basket per family. The floating baskets should be made of materials such as plants in order to avoid polluting water resources. Meanwhile, Sukhothai Province has invited tourists to the 2015 Loi Krathong Festival from the 21st to the 25th of November. Received royally bestowed flame has arrived in the province for lighting the famous Loi Krathong Sai floats. Provincial Governor of Sukhothai, Piti Kao Salapsi, said the province has joined hands with relevant organizations in organizing the Loi Krathong Festival since 1977 to conserve the tradition and promote tourism. Celebrated since the Sukhothai era, the festival takes place every year on the full moon night of the 12th lunar month in the traditional calendar. This year, the festival has been scheduled for the 21st to the 25th of November at the Sukhothai Historical Park. The event features a procession of the royally bestowed flame, Nang Nopamat beauty pageant, floating basket contest, as well as many cultural performances. In our next story, various committees under the National Reform Steering Assembly, or NRSA, are required to submit their reform plans to the main assembly next month. The NISA spokesperson team led by Mr. Kamnoon Siddhisaman spoke at a press conference saying the reform blueprints in 11 areas, according to the interim constitution, must be presented to the main NRSA panel by December 9th of this year. These drafts should include priorities in each reform area, procedures or steps to reform, problems and obstacles, solutions to problems, among others. The plans should also include the time frame as to how long the reform process should take or when it should be completed. After these plans have been proposed to the main assembly, responsible committees are required to inform the NRSA of the progress of the implementation of each reform plan on a monthly basis. The Constitution Drafting Commission has not yet drawn any conclusion on the number of senators to be elected under the new charter. CDC spokesman Amon Wanitviwat said that the charter drafters have not decided if there will be 200 senators after the new constitution is adopted. He added that the CDC is still to decide if the Senate election will be a direct or indirect one, while expressing concerns that a direct election of the senators may not help the country find honest and just people. At the same time, the charter drafters are considering if the senators should still have the power to impeach politicians or if an independent organization should be in charge of such a duty. The CDC spokesman went on to say that the charter drafting team will also be looking at the possibility that the Constitutional Court will be responsible for the verification of the qualification of all political office holders. Meanwhile, the CDC has held a forum in Chiang Rai province to seek opinions and suggestions from different sectors across the north. The meeting, chaired by CDC First Vice Chairman Supot Khaimuk, has been the CDC's first forum of the country. Other CDC members partaking in the meeting included General Niwat Sipen, Kirana Sumawong, and Narachit Singha Seni. King Prachatipok's Institute was also one of the organizers. The event featured seminars on various issues such as people's rights and roles, duties of the state, the national reform, and power decentralization. Participants consisted of representatives from independent organizations, public and private agencies, and ethnic groups across the northern region. The CDC expects to hold similar opinion-seeking meetings in the south and the northeast as well in due course. The Election Commission is seeking the help of the Interior Ministry to promote democracy in various provinces and stamp out illegal practice of vote buying. EC Secretary General Puchong Nutrawong, along with other EC members, met with Interior Minister General Anupong Paujinda to discuss ways to support democracy, stamp out vote buying, and set up a public referendum. The Election Commission has asked the Interior Ministry to assist by increasing the number of personnel responsible for promoting democracy in the villages, adding that the individual who is responsible for promoting democracy and election should come from the district's centre. The move is aimed at creating good democratic citizens in each village. In addition, the EC is also asking district sheriffs to facilitate the effort by setting up monthly meetings with local authorities, as well as organizing activities for villagers to inform them of related information. The Bangkok Metropolitan Administration has hosted a rehearsal for the upcoming cycling event, which will be held next month. The rehearsal for the Bike for Dad activity was held in Bangkok on Sunday, with around 300 cyclists participating. The rehearsal was divided into 3 stages. The first stage started from the Royal Plaza and ended at Chulalongkorn University, with a total distance of 7 kilometers. The second stage ran 40 kilometers from Chulalongkorn University to the Royal Thai Navy Convention Hall. As for the third and final stage, cyclists traveled back to the Royal Plaza, where they started. The final stage was 8 kilometers, bringing the total distance for the rehearsal to 29 kilometers, which is equivalent to the actual Bike for Dad activity to take place on Friday, December 11, 2015. Approximately 1,500 police officers were seen securing those areas and facilitating the traffic. The mass bicycle ride event, Bike for Dad, aims to celebrate the 88th birthday anniversary of His Majesty King Bhumibol Adulyadej on the 5th of December. His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mahavajiralongkorn will lead the event in Bangkok. The organizing of Bike for Dad comes after Thailand was successful in launching Bike for Mom 2015 as part of the celebrations for Her Majesty the Queen Circuit's 83rd birthday anniversary in August 2015. It was a historic moment and became the biggest cycling event ever held in Thailand. Several provinces struck by drought have decided to limit water usage by closing local reservoirs to reserve the much-needed resource for next year. In the northeast, Mahasarkham has stopped supplying water to irrigation areas after Ubonrat Dam has closed its sluice gates due to the continued drop in water level. In Nong Khai, the alarmingly low level of the Mekong River forced the local irrigation office to shut all the sluices. Workers are clearing the waterway connecting Mekong River to the local river in preparation for the nearing dry season. In the central region, meanwhile, the Regional Irrigation Office is preparing to halt the water supply from Tapsala Reservoir to drought-stricken districts to ensure enough water for consumption. In Ayutthaya, related agencies convened a meeting to discuss the progress of the drought relief efforts. The central province is to submit its petition for assistance together with corrective plans to the government for immediate support by early December. Local administrative organizations have been instructed to clarify the drought situation to residents and raise awareness of the need to conserve water. Many farmers in various areas are adjusting to the dry season by growing crops that use less water after the government has warned that this year's dry season will be worse and longer than last year. In Kampang Phet province, farmers in the main district of the province are growing bamboo instead of rice. 6 rice have been allocated for the crops. Locals say the bamboo shoots are delicious, adding that it can be easily grown despite the weather conditions. Bamboo shoots can be harvested within 7 to 10 months of farming. The cost of growing bamboo averages to about 5,000 baht per rai, and farmers are able to sell the bamboo shoots for 35 to 40 baht a kilo. Meanwhile, in Uthai Thani, farmers in Lansak district have decided to grow corn after losing money from rice. Farmers allocated 25 rai for corn, using some of it to feed their livestock. An additional 5 rai is dedicated to other vegetables. Farmers say after having shifted from rice to other crops for 6 to 7 months, they are able to generate more income than expected. Their vegetables are sold at the fresh market, while some vendors buy directly from them, resulting in a daily income of 1,000 to 1,500 baht. Farmers say they will continue to sell vegetables for a while longer or until the price of rice increases. Hoi Kha Kang Wildlife Sanctuary has beefed up its anti-hunting efforts following a seizure of carcasses of tigers killed in the sanctuary. Hoi Kha Kang Wildlife Sanctuary Chief Somport Manirat disclosed that officials had increased their patrols in the area and would apply new technologies to their surveillance. In addition, the sanctuary will launch a campaign with other agencies to raise awareness of the importance of forest and wildlife conservation and to foster sustainable livelihood for nearby communities so that villagers can opt for other jobs instead of hunting animals. Hoi Kha Kang Wildlife Sanctuary has heightened its anti-hunting efforts after an arrest of a tiger hunter in Tak province. The wrongdoer confessed that he killed tigers and took their carcasses from Hoi Kha Kang, that is the wildlife sanctuary in Uthai Thani province. Hoi Kha Kang Wildlife Sanctuary has also planned to discuss the forest management plan with the Department of National Park, Wildlife and Plant Conservation. And that's it for Thailand Moves Forward. Let's now have a quick look at the exchange rates and commodity prices. Newsline will return after these messages.
To maintain a strong nation, Thailand is promoting 12 core values for the good of the people. First among them, to uphold the three pillars: the nation, religion, and the monarchy.
Welcome to ASEAN, a community comprised of 10 countries, each with its unique culture and history, now unifying to bring added prosperity to the region. For centuries, each country remained independent, but now we are coming together to compete in the 21st century globalized world. ASEAN is bringing together more than 600 million citizens and a total land area of 4.4 million square kilometers, and is providing economic opportunities, trade, travel, and new educational possibilities. The combined GDP of all 10 ASEAN countries comes to a total of $2.4 trillion, which means the ASEAN entity ranks amongst the world's major economic powers. The future is here. Welcome to ASEAN, the community of opportunities. The Southeast Asia region is now becoming one.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline. Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha, along with other ASEAN leaders, signed a document to launch the long-awaited ASEAN community. At the 27th ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, General Prayut Chan-o-cha and other leaders took turns to sign the Kuala Lumpur Declaration on the establishment of the ASEAN community. The first signature on the declaration belongs to Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak of Malaysia as 2015 chairman. The historic declaration on the formation of the ASEAN community by December 31st this year entails greater integration of the region, where more than 600 million people reside. Established after the grouping's 48 years of existence, the ASEAN community comprises three core pillars, namely the ASEAN Political Security Community, ASEAN Economic Community, and ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. The signing of the landmark document was witnessed by leaders of ASEAN dialogue partners from China, Japan, India, Australia, and New Zealand. The 27th ASEAN Summit concluded on the 22nd of November, the last day of the summit, when 3 meetings were held. The meetings included the ASEAN New Zealand Summit, the 10th East Asia Summit, the 18th ASEAN Japan Summit, and the 17th ASEAN Korea Summit, as well as the 7th ASEAN UN Summit. After the meetings, Prime Minister Prayut attended the closing ceremony of the 27th ASEAN Summit, as well as a ceremony to hand the ASEAN chairmanship to Laos. He returned to Bangkok on Sunday at 8 p.m. A round-the-clock curfew in Mardin's Nusaybin town of Turkey entered its 10th day, during which 10 PKK militants and 2 civilians had been killed, according to a statement by local governor's office. Riot police used water cannon and tear gas to disperse pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party lawmakers who were trying to enter the town, saying the curfew was not legal. At least 2 of the People's Democratic Party members, including Mayor of Mardin Ahmet Turk, were injured during the clashes. Security forces have been launching dragnet security operations in the town of Nusaybin on the Syrian border to retaliate the fighters from the PKK's youth wing, known as the Patriotic Revolutionary Youth Movement, who attacked security forces with heavy weapons, dig trenches, and erect barricades down side streets. The PKK's 31-year-old conflict with the state erupted anew in July, with Turkey launching airstrikes on militant camps and imposing curfews in cities in response to attacks on its security forces, ending a March 2013 ceasefire. Hundreds have been killed in the latest fighting. Police operations were underway near the Grand Place and the Rue du Midi in the centre of Brussels. Authorities did not provide any details for the operations and said they would hold a news conference after several raids were underway in Brussels. The raids in Brussels were over. Plainclothes police searched cars and cordoned off streets surrounding the Grand Place soon after Prime Minister Charles Michel announced that he was extending the maximum threat alert. Belgian television reported that the atmosphere was extremely tense early on in the operations, but that things had calmed down 3 hours later. Belgium has been at the heart of investigations into the Paris attacks after links to Brussels and the poor district of Molenbeek in particular emerged. New footage shows Malian security storming the Radisson Blu Hotel in Mali as shooting continued during the assault that killed 19 people on Friday. Armed men rescued as many as 170 people, many of whom had been hiding under beds or inside rooms. Many of those rescued could be seen running from the hotel in the Malian capital, Bamako. Jihadist groups Al-Mourabitoun and Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb claimed responsibility for the attack, which ended when Malian security stormed the building. The bloodshed at the Radisson Blu Hotel in Mali, a former French colony, evoked the problems French troops and UN peacekeepers face in restoring security and order in the West African state that has battled rebels and militants in its weakly governed Desert North for years. A handful of Egyptians cast their votes on Sunday night in the second phase of elections that are meant to restore parliament after a gap of more than 3 years, but which critics say have been undermined by widespread repression. The elections have been hailed by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi as a milestone on the army's roadmap to democracy, but voter turnout has been low, with only a quarter of the electorate casting ballots in the first phase on October 18th and 19th. Sisi supporters won a landslide in the first leg and are expected to repeat their performance on Sunday and Monday, when voting takes place in the capital Cairo and 12 other provinces. The government announced it was giving public sector workers half a day off on Monday to encourage them to cast their ballots. Many who abstained said they felt the polls offered little genuine choice in the absence of the main opposition, Muslim Brotherhood, and other critics, and that Parliament would change little in lives dominated by the struggle to earn a living. And that's all the time we have for today's edition of Newsline. If you do have any suggestions or comments, please write to us. The email address is newsline.nbt@gmail.com. Today we say goodbye, showing you some pictures of the birth of a rare hippo at Bristol Zoo in southwest England. I'm Tilapan Sanarula. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Sawasdee ka.